Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, so it's time for our Wednesday story for our kids. As always, it's coming out of the Sparks Storybook Bible, and this story is on page 388. I'm glad you're here. I'll read it to you and then show you the pictures. So let's listen. This story is The Road to Emmaus. We had Easter, right? Jesus is resurrected. Now we're kind of looking at these stories that happen between the time Jesus is resurrected and the time he goes to heaven. He ascends into heaven. So it's a pretty cool story. I'm excited about it. Here we go. The Road to Emmaus. 3 days after Jesus died, Clopas and his friends were slowly walking down the road to Emmaus. They were walking slowly because they felt very sad. Why did Jesus have to die, they wondered. After a while, a stranger began to walk along with them. The stranger was really Jesus, but Clopas and his friends didn't know it. "What are you talking about?" the stranger asked. The men looked at each other. "Are you the only person in town who doesn't know what just happened?" they asked. They told the stranger what had happened to Jesus. "Jesus was a great teacher," Clopas said. "We hoped he was the one God promised would save the world, but instead he died on a cross. We took Jesus' body down and put it in a tomb. And this morning, our friends went to the tomb, but Jesus' body was gone. They said there was an angel there instead, and the angel told our friends, 'Jesus is alive, but—'" "Stop being silly," the stranger said. "How many times do you need to hear this? It was God's plan for Jesus to die and become alive again to save the world." All right, here's our picture for today. See, there they are walking down the road. Let's keep reading. By now they were almost to Emmaus. Clopas invited the stranger to stay for dinner. During dinner, the stranger picked up a loaf of bread, broke it, blessed it, and gave each man a piece. All of a sudden, Clopas and his friend recognized the stranger. It was Jesus! But then Jesus disappeared. Clopas and his friend jumped up. They ran from the room and went to tell the rest of Jesus' disciples that Jesus really was alive. God kept another promise. See Jesus and them breaking bread together. I love this story. I know I say that almost every week, but this is one of my favorite stories. It's one of my favorite stories because it's kind of like Jesus just hanging out with his friends, even though they don't know it, right? Because they're walking and they don't really understand that the stranger who shows up is Jesus, and they don't understand that until he breaks bread, right? Like he had done at a story we read a few weeks ago at the Last Supper. He broke the bread and he gave it to them. And I just love this idea of them walking and being so sad. I don't love that they're sad, but I love what happens at the end of the story when they realize that what they had heard, even though they didn't really understand it, that it was Jesus was alive, and they had heard about his resurrection, and it was true. Imagine what a surprise that would have been, right? I like this idea of walking with Jesus and talking to Jesus and having this moment just between the friends and Jesus. And then it ends with a meal. Those are all really cool things. Here's what I want you to do today. I'm outside. I'm at the church because I had to come here for a few minutes today. And I really wanted to tell you this story while I'm on a road, because I want you to go for a walk today. It's a beautiful day outside. You can go walk in your neighborhood. Maybe you can go to a park as long as you stay away from other people. But I want you to go for a walk with your family. And I want you guys to take a minute to kind of tell stories. That's what these guys were doing, right? They probably told stories about, hey, remember when Jesus broke all the bread and the fish and fed everybody? Or remember when Jesus healed that one guy? I mean, sometimes when we're just hanging out, walking down a road, telling stories, we get to really know somebody. And we get to have good times and remember stuff with them. So that's today's challenge, right? Go for a walk down the road together. Maybe your parents will tell you a cool story about something that happened to them when they were on a walk before. Or why don't you just tell your favorite stories about Jesus to each other? That'd be kind of cool too, right? I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. Remember that I love you, I'm here for you, and I'm praying for you. Now go take a walk, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.